I'm Shane Wrigley. I work for JD in the Grade 8 South Valley MM.
All right.
And I'm Brandon Dodge, and I'm also on JD's team.
Great. So we appreciate their help today. I'm sure all of you have different sheds that look something like this. And just do a quick pan here. We've got all sorts of different supplies, tools, furnishings, things that are useful, things that aren't useful. So we're going to go through today and show a little bit how to understand what we're looking for as we organize these sheds, and maybe give you a good idea of what you should keep and what we need to get rid of to make these sheds usable, and to understand the valuable equipment and furnishings that we have out here, and start to use those rather than constantly buying new ones, even though we've got them in, we already own them. So we have a couple of different categories here. I'm going to start off with our first two categories. The first one we're going to cover is chemicals. I'm sure all of you have multiple areas in your groups where you've got just stashes of old chemicals. Now, there are a couple of different things that you may want to keep. Gum away and carpet cleaner. You may want to keep a couple of those, but if you've got 17 boxes of them, you probably can dispose of some of those and keep what you think you could use maybe in a year. The next thing is you've got half-used containers of chemicals and cleaners and bug killer, all of this stuff. If you haven't used it, a good rule of thumb is if you haven't used it in a year, let's go ahead and get rid of it. And talk to your maintenance manager about proper disposal of chemicals. Usually you can take them to the dump and dispose of them there. Just let them know that you've got some chemicals, and they'll show you where you can dispose of them. Another one we've got a lot of is paint. Now, paint degrades, and we don't want to keep hundreds of gallons of paint that we used half of a gallon and have the rest of it just sitting around. Now, if you've used it and you think you might use it in the near future, keep it around. But if you haven't used it in a year or two, the paint starts to degrade, and let's go ahead and get rid of it. So that covers chemicals. The next category that you're going to find is tools. There's a lot of tools out there. Some are good and useful tools, and some, well, we don't need to keep all the tools that are out there. Now, we've just gathered a couple of things that we've pulled here. We've got, an Allen wrench set, a drill, a screwdriver. These are things that I would keep, put in a specified area that we know here's where all the tools are that are usable. And that way, if any maintenance, or if any technician, if a drill breaks, he knows, oh, I know that Shane's got an area in his shed where there's usable tools. These are kind of things we wouldn't need to inventory. Small tools, not a big deal. We could throw stuff like this away. Funnels, maybe keep one, but you don't need 10 of them. So we want to keep them in an area where we know where they are, where we have a pretty good understanding of what we have, and then the rest we can either get rid of to the DI if they're still valuable, or throw away. Now, an example is, if I've got 10 sets of these Allen wrenches and I ask around my group and everybody's got a set their own, there's no reason for us to keep 10 sets. Let's give 8 or 9 of them to the DI and only keep one of them. There's no reason that we need that many sets of Allen wrenches. So we'll shift over to Shane. Shane's got our next category here.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the inventory, the furnishings that we have in our sheds. We have things like TVs, we have baby changing tables, we have coat racks, we have a lot of these different things, tithing envelope holders. There's a lot of different things that we have that we need to keep in place so that we know where they're at. This is the inventory list that we're going to start making, so that if a tech needs a coat rack, rather than ordering one, he can just go to a central inventory sheet and see who has one and where it's at, so he's able to get it much quicker and save the church a lot of money by doing it that way rather than just ordering on a whim. There's also, in a lot of the mezzanines and stuff, there's chalkboards and there's whiteboards and there's cork boards and all that stuff. If we can get those all on the inventory list, then we can save a lot of money, a lot of time by knowing what furnishings we have and where to go get them at. So if you have stuff that we put up in the buildings, that's the stuff you need to make sure you keep and keep it inventoried so that we can easily find it when we need it. The next category is kind of the up in the air category, I guess you can say. This is the stuff that we have that might be worth something to somebody, but not to everybody. You got like old pictures, old artwork that we're no longer going to display in our buildings, but there might be members that want these. So these are the kind of things that we're going to give to the DI. Any old artwork that we don't use anymore, take it to the DI. Telephones, old phones. In this shed alone, we've got about 12 of these old phones in a cabinet that we'll never use again. We can either take them to the DI, who knows, somebody might be a collector and want them, or you can just go throw them in the dumpster and be done with them. Either way. But that's what a lot of this stuff is. Old hardware that you're going to find. Just things like this. I don't even know what this is. This is a terminal for computer surge protection. I don't even know if you use that stuff anymore, but that's something that can go to the DI. We're never going to put it in the building, so let's not store it in the sheds anymore. The things that you might, here's the other thing that's important. The waxy soap dispensers, and there's old toilet paper dispensers, there's old paper towel dispensers that we don't use anymore because our paper products don't fit them or our soap don't fit them. Throw them away. Just get them, put them in the dumpster, be done with it. There's no value to them. If you got sentimental value, I'm sorry, this is one you're going to have to live with getting rid of. But there's just no need to have them anymore. Things, you know, there's just stuff like this. This is about 100 quart bottle caps. I don't know why you would use these. Get rid of them. You know, quit. We don't want to clutter up the shed with having stuff we don't need. Keys. Old keys. Yeah, get a good picture of that. Every shed I go into has a big barrel, a bucket of these keys. Throw them in the garbage. Get rid of them. And from now on, just throw, as you make a bad key or you have a bad key, throw it in the garbage and be done with it. There's no need. Things that you can keep, you know, you got some ice melt, you know, keep it, use it up next winter, and then get rid of the packaging. There's no need to waste things like this when we know we're going to use it. But if we know we're not going to use it, DI it or throw it in the dumpster.
Awesome. Our next category is our supplies, and Brandon's going to...
So the main reason we have a shed is to store our supplies in it that we need to use to fix our buildings. So the important thing is to keep the supplies that we can use and throw away the supplies that we can't. You know, for example, here we've got a bucket full of door handles. You know, go through that bucket, make 1 or 2 good handles, throw the rest away, DI them, whatever you think. Tag them though, so you know that they're good, so they're easy to use, or if somebody else comes into your shed, they can know right off the bat that this is a good door handle and use it. A lot of our sheds also have supplies like toilet paper rolls or ice melt bags or garbage bags. Start taking those and distribute them into different buildings throughout your area so that they're in the members' closets and that they can be used. There's no need for us to store them in our sheds where we don't use them. Other things you're going to have, you know, supplies like basketball pads. We've got some brand new ones. There's no reason to keep an old one that was taken off of basketball standard. Just throw it away. In this shed, we've also got a bunch of table legs. I don't know about you, but I haven't repaired a table leg for the whole 6 months I've worked here. So get rid of those, throw them away. But the important thing is, let's take all of our stuff. Let's say you've got electrical outlets, switches, cover plates. Put those and organize them by color. Organize them in your area so that they can be identified and used easily. Because we all have this type of stuff in our sheds. And how often do we go and buy them at a store where we shouldn't? We've already got them on hand. Let's know what we have and use it. And you know, if you've got an old vacuum, go ahead and repair it. Buy the parts to fix it up, get it working again. If you can't do that, scrap it, throw it away. Let's not keep them stored in our sheds. We've got 4 of them right here that who knows if they're good or bad. You know, let's get those organized and ready to go. And you're also going to have old pieces of wood, old chairs. You know, that's the type of stuff we can dispose of that we don't need. It's just cluttering up our sheds and taking up space.
Awesome. Thank you, Brandon. And just in closing, I just want to remember the general guidelines. If it's usable in a building, if you have use for the supplies, the furnishings, if you can think of a legitimate reason why you would use it within the next year, go ahead and keep it. If you don't, if it's valuable, take it to the DI. If it's not valuable, go ahead and throw it away. So with those 3 guiding principles, we can really help clean up these sheds and understand what valuable equipment and furnishings we have, so that we can start to use what we have rather than buying stuff that's already in a lot of these sheds. Thank you, and we hope you had as much fun as we did showing you how to clean out a shed. And each maintenance manager will designate one technician in their group to be a shed cleaner. Now that shed cleaner will be able to answer any questions. You might have some things that you really don't know. Should I throw it away? Should I keep it? That shed cleaner will help you to understand what you should do and in specific situations. Thank you, and hope you guys have a great day.